Okay, cool. Recording is going. I wanted to do a tutorial video on essentially how to play Pharmercy. I see a lot of this constantly going wrong in my rankings, like when the team is playing Pharmercy, and hopefully this guide gets out to a few people so that a few people can understand the composition better, as well as how to play if your team is running the Pharmercy, and what to do if you're playing as the Pharmercy. So, general notes for this video, I'm going to cover how the team builds around it, the playstyle, and how to use your ults for it. I also will talk about counterplay for it, so how to counter it later. So, in general, the Pharmercy, what it is a two-part combo. We have the Chengdu Hunters. This is the 2021 Overwatch League season. This is the first game of the Hunters versus the Dragons this year. Spoiler, Dragons lose this 0-3. So Hunters are going to take this map pretty cleanly. They've already taken one round, by the way. I'm just on this point because this is where they play Pharmercy. So for like the next 4 minutes of gameplay, which is honestly how long this round lasts, it's 100-0. Yeah, I'm just going to analyze this. This is honestly a one-sided domination. Dragons play... Honestly, Dragons try to play the field style, and it doesn't work for them. Okay, so... what happens with the Pharmercy? The Pharmercy is essentially a... how do I put this? It's like a double flex support composition, essentially. Well, so your Mercy is... I guess Mercy technically falls under the position of a main support now, with the Baptiste, Ana, Zenyatta being your flex supports. But you never run the Zenyatta. You generally want to run the Ana or Baptiste with the Pharmercy. So generally you'll run your standard affair, the 2 tanks, and then the Pharmercy, another hit scan, either something divey based on your tank line. If you're running like the Reinhardt, you want something slower, so like a Hanzo or a McCree or an Ashe. Or if you're playing faster, you'll be running something more like the Tracer Echo. Well, not the Echo, because the Echo phara is double floater. It's not great. Generally, if you're playing faster with like a Winston, you don't want to even run the phara, you just run an Echo. And then your support line, you have the Mercy, which is part of the Pharmercy core, and then your other support would be something like a Baptiste or an Ana generally. The support character that can heal the team on their own. The key point being that they should be able to heal the team on their own. It shouldn't be a character where a Mercy needs to help them heal the team. So stuff like Zenyatta and Lucio and Brigitte, not great for this composition. So those 3 supports are kind of out the window. It leaves you with just Ana, Moira, and Baptiste to play with the Mercy. Generally, the Mercy is going to be spending 99% of our time on the phara. The Mercy and the phara are playing as a singular unit in the air, and they're just going to constantly be spamming damage from the ground, or spamming damage from above. So phara, Mercy play from up here. They play together, and they're looking to do damage from above. The remaining members of your team will be playing bunkered onto the objective with a forward-facing barrier and looking to put damage forward into the enemy team. It forces the enemy team's Reinhardt to either put their barrier forward to deal with the to resist that, or it forces them to look up at you and counter you. Generally, to counterplay the Pharmercy, you would put out a Diva, maybe something like hit scan to kind of zone her out. I know Flooded switches over to the Tracer here later to play. Lip with the EMP and hacks can be looking to hack the Mercy and the phara out of the air and force them onto ground level. If they're on the ground level, they are instantly diveable and killable. So you're looking for that. Whoops. Alright, other notes to keep track of. With the way Pharmercy plays, Pharmercy is an incredibly slow moving composition. You do not want to hard engage with the composition. Just because of the nature of the way it plays, phara with damage boosted rockets in the air will be able to do a ton of damage from above and quickly build up that ultimate. When she has the ultimate, then she looks for a in to just dump the ult onto the enemy team. With how quickly you can build it, you should generally have it almost like every other fight, much like cycling nano blades, but rather than the nano blade, it's the barrage just straight into the backline. There's not a lot of ults in the game that can counterplay it. You have Li Zhegang on the Lucio, But like a well-timed barrage right at him will kill him before he even gets the beat off, assuming he's high up in the air. Like just like jumping up and then coming down. Izayaki can put down the Transcendence, but then you have Monk on the Ana for nade to anti the team, and then they still take damage. Void, of course, is going to be the biggest challenge to this, because once you barrage, Void just throws his mech at you and you will blow yourself up by splash damage. He can also just defense matrix your barrage so you don't kill anything anyways, including yourself. Your team... Okay, so because of the way Pharmercy plays, your Mercy is always going to be 1-to-1 on you. She's going to get ult charged off of your damage booster rocket, and then she's going to get ult charged off of healing you from taking all the poke damage that they're throwing at you. D.Va's going to be constantly jumping up at you to try and kill you. Mercy just healing you should keep you up constantly. That means that when Mercy has her Valk, how do you use it? Well, she uses it generally as a zoning ult. As weird as that sounds. Because of the nature of gameplay at the higher levels where everyone plays grouped up together, a good Valk will chain from one person to the rest of the team. And when you do that and you have everyone damage boosted, it's much like Orisa's Supercharger, where you guys now have all the pressure and the enemy team can't really fight it because they don't have the damage to match you. It's the same thing with Window, Supercharger. Those are great ults for zoning because of the potential damage output, not so much of their direct like zoning of influence like a Mei ult or Torbolt or Deadeye. That stuff actively zones space because you can't go in there without dying. The threat of the added damage from the other ults like the Valk keeps people from pushing into point, and if they push into point, you have the coordinated fire to kill them. So generally the way you want to use this is honestly the only time Nisha is forced to use the Valk in this round is when Monk dies. He uses the Valk to basically put out the threat for the bonus damage, goes for the res, and then goes into damage boosting for the team in general, and it forces the rest of Dragons back, and they can't capitalize on that kill on Monk. It's very clever in the way it's used, and it requires coordination. If you're going into comp games though, and you want to use your Valk, generally look to engage with Valk, don't react with Valk. Because if you're using Valk to engage and you don't have ults, you can probably build up ults with the added damage. Also, it's just enough to break barriers and just steamroll your way through teams, regardless. Okay, cool. I think that covers everything that I wanted to go over. I'll go over counterplay after watching this. Alright, go straight into it. They're on the Lucio and the TP, Sem to TP out. I know Carpe does a TP where he goes from spawn onto this like one specific pedestal. So it gives you just like a bit of extra distance and your team is just like 5 feet further. Carpe of Philadelphia Fusion. Cool. So it's now on Ana to stay alive without ever dying, because she's healing the remaining members of the team. So she's one healer for 4 players. No. She's one healer for 3 players, and then the Mercy is one healer for 1 player. Specifically the Phara. The way they're playing this on this map and the way you generally want to play is around natural cover. Disengage, Izayaki is weak, D.Va's looking forward at the ball. I want to go back and watch that again slowly to highlight it. Okay, cool. So, Izayaki over here takes a far rocket of damage. Okay, cool. Jinwoo knows that and is coming in. He's constantly just like trying to get splash damage. Izayaki gets the heals. Brigitte uses stun on Gaga. Gaga is over there in the corner and knows that Brigitte uses stun, and so they're looking to follow damage. In the meantime, while they're busy looking there, Jinwoo comes around the corner and kills the Zenyatta. How does this happen? I also want to turn this down to 5. Alright, where did you take the extra shot of damage? Izayaki's full. The Sombra calls it out. Okay, cool. That's why. So Sombra calls out Izayaki 1. Jinwoo turns, shoots Izayaki once. He's dead, and his job here is done. He can now just get out. Stays in. Nate is out on the team. Whoops. My bad. Too far. Cool. D.Va hack comes out, so D.Va cannot contest the Phara right there. And then they D-Mech and leave her be. Cool story. Now they finish her off for ult charge. And then yeah, they win the fight on point. That one was good execution. Good on Leave to call out, and I identified that the Zenyatta was alone and in the back. Chip down to half, and then Jinmu comes in with the cleanup. Meanwhile, the rest of the team busy looking at the ball in the corner. Ball being so good in this composition because of how disruptive he is and how sustainable he is. He has the speed to get in and out without really dying, as well as adaptive shields. And then he just plays for disruption. He doesn't play to face tank damage. He's just constantly look to harass. The chip damage from Jinmu, Gaga, and nades from Monk should be able to secure fight wins and picks constantly, just cycling through them. You also have the zone denial from Gaga's ultimate, making it hard for Fate and Dragons to push in as a group. Okay, so again, Pharmercy, playing in the air, playing around cover, just looking to spam in damage from a long range. Leave is in there, and Gaga is in there doing the chip damage, while the large chunk damage is coming from Jinmu up top. He's not going in ever for a fight. He's just constantly just throwing damage in. He has his barrage, and he's now looking for targets to identify for him to just drop it on them. Jinmu's over here, just scouting them out, calling out for his team. They're going to look for the D.Va to hack the D.Va so the D.Va cannot kill Jinmu in the air. It's good from his team to look for his win conditions. Monk gets slammed and Monk dies. That's a go sign. Because Monk dies, Nisha pops Valk, and Jinmu pops Barrage. This forces Fate and Fleta on the point to play passively, making the space for Monk to get his Nisha to res Monk. Rather than having Elsa there with the defense matrix to protect the Mercy res, they use the Valk and the Barrage. That way, even if the res is going off, Fate doesn't want to roll into that to disrupt the res. Defense matrix does nothing against the disruption or the boops from Fate rolling in, but the barrage makes his life miserable, and he does not want to go into that. So they commit the 2 ults, and then all of the Dragons are forced to back up because of this one unit that's getting pocketed by the, well, damage boosted by the Valk. Jinmu cleans up Fleta, Leave gets Li Jiang, and that forces them back. And that's their 2 ults to use. They just use the Pharmercy ult, and they win that. Gaga's in deep. Gaga's gonna die. Yeah. But look at this. Fate had to use his minefield over here. It means he doesn't have minefield to zone on the point, and they're fine with that, honestly. They're cool with that. It's nowhere really in the fight. It was a really bad ult by him. Now onto the fight. Void sees the Pharmercy just like doing damage. Fleta's now on the hit scan McCree to try and deal with this Pharmercy. Jinmu playing super passive up top is just using natural cover, just poking them, take a few rockets, and dipping back and forward. EMP comes out, it catches only Elsa on the side of Hunters. EMP from Leave catches Void, Li Xiang, and Izayaki. Li Xiang does react to the EMP and gets his rally going, and then Gaga drops minefields on them and splits them up. If you go back and watch... Whoops. Not far enough. Alright. Here we go. They're coming... Okay, cool. They're coming in with Rally. EMP is used. It doesn't really disrupt them. Okay, so EMP was kind of late, and then Minefield was even later. I think they could have made do without the Minefields. EMP kind of already locked it in. Minefields doesn't really get the kill. I guess D.Va Bomb gets the kill. Although that ball would have died either way to the mines. And yeah. It's just cleanup now. Once again, Jinmu kind of in the air uncontested. This entire time, by the way, if you go back and watch, except for like one time, Nisha's constantly on the phara, healing and damage boosting. He only goes to heal the D.Va once when the Ana is busy healing the ball in that first fight in the corner. If we go back here and watch. I think it's over here. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, this entire time he's just on the phara, kind of jumping back and forth, but he's always like within range of the phara. Once everyone's maxed out, he goes back and on your pocket and damage boost. Jinmu gets damage, not kill, and they're just playing for this. He goes to heal the Ana just because Ana doesn't want to use nade for the self heal. It's a huge cooldown, and you want to use that for your antis for committing to fights. A quick heal onto D.Va, and then straight away back onto the phara. Phara was relatively safe and playing around the cover, so it's not like Phara was left high and dry to die. Had the D.Va been going up, it would have been way more troublesome. One more thing to point out that I will do real quick and then probably call it a video with that is this commit. When the ball goes, kills the Mercy. Mercy was already healing. Fuck. I pressed back a lot of times. Alright, cool. So over here. Mercy was already healing the ball, or Ana, when ball came in for this slam. So she tried, Nisha tried, and could not keep Monk alive for the sustain. That's fine, you're there with Valk to get the res off. And then, not this fight, soon. There's going to be a really good fight where Nisha makes the choice to leave Jinmu to pocket, well, not really pocket Monk on Ana, but to help sustain the Ana. I think it's a really good decision. It's just like being aware of Nisha can see the ball is in there on the left side and knows about it. Fate gets Monk again, looking around, trying to just stay with your Phara. Phara is right there and you know it. Try and get some heals on Lee because Monk is dead. Monk is coming back in from respawns. Stay with Jinmu. Good use of flight to keep the distance. Jinmu is now dead. So Jinmu is now dead. He goes for a barrage in the middle of them. Heals Lee, goes back to Monk. Monk gets healed. Okay, so fuck. I need to stop doing that. I need to stop pressing the wrong button. Okay. Over here. Nisha sees the ball rolling in. Okay. Right now, Fate has the slam. He wants to slam on them, but because Nisha is right there with Monk, he's not going to commit the slam just yet. He does not want to get commit slam and not get the kill. Nisha is staying on Monk to just make sure that the ball is zoned out and can't get the value. Monk rotates out the back and calling for a peel for his team. D.Va comes to peel for the Ana. Ana uses nade on self to keep alive, and that's it. They clean up. It's really well played by Nisha, not just to stick on to the Phara 100% of the time, but know the space that you can get to switch your targets to heal other players up while still giving priority to the Phara. It's still like 90% of the time you're on Phara, most of your ult generation is through the Phara just healing and damage boosting, but like being able to help the team at times when the Phara is free and not really under danger of immediately dying. So many times in games will I go and the team's like, I need to heal the Mercy's like, I need to heal other players, and it's like, yes you do, but also we have a Baptiste, and the Baptiste is more than capable of healing a bunch of people at the same time. As Mercy, you can only heal one person, and it puts you down in the ground level to be a target to shoot at. Playing up top with the Phara will keep you alive longer, especially if you have the Valk. If your team is really low and you have Valk, just pop Valk and heal your team. You don't actually have to go look at the one person at a time and heal them. Yeah, I think that's about everything for the Pharmercy play. Again, it plays very slow. It's not like a dive comp. There was only, I think, maybe 3 fights that entire round, which for 30 seconds plus the 100% cap is honestly not a lot of fights. That's what, a fight every 40 seconds or something. 100, 130 divided by 3, yeah, roughly like 42 seconds a fight. But yeah, those are like really slow, really drawn out fights that eventually cause a collapse and death. They have the ults to cycle through it, and the entirety of the Dragons were playing poorly. Counterplay includes a long-range hit scan, the D.Va, and just like looking to engage fast and hard. You don't want to play slow. If you're playing slow, it gives Phara the time to build up her barrage. If you don't give her the time to build up her barrage, then you guys can go engage, and the Phara is just stuck up there kind of just like spectating. Also play for natural cover. It's good that they were going for halls constantly at the very start, but then they start playing out in this open area, and this open area is where Phara thrives because she's uncontested with rain rockets. Had they just rotated around here and then forced the fight over here, somewhere in the corner playing some style of bunker, they probably would have been fine, especially once they come up here. McCree now gets a good sideline on the entirety of this airspace, and it's hard for the phara to kind of contest. The phara is now forced to play probably outside of the point looking in, rather than playing inside of the point looking out. And so it's just like you're constantly chipping damage. You can now just drop onto point and take the natural cover, which then lets phara play up here. That's assuming the McCree also drops. If the McCree plays up here with like an off-tank the diva, it's just like raining damage from up here on the phara and zoning. It's incredibly powerful to make the phara's life miserable. The phara can't really commit unless she has barrage, and even then she needs to dump barrage very quickly onto you to kill you. Phara is not going to be getting a bunch of value on the rest of your team. Similarly, this applies to other objectives and other maps in general. Just look for natural cover, so it's hard for phara to rain in damage. Watch for doorways where she will rain in splash damage onto your team. And then coordinate to dive the rest of the enemy team before the phara can barrage your team. That's generally how you want to set your pace when you're playing against the Pharmercy. Cool. I'm going to call that the video there.